Hey everyone! Welcome to another episode of Wise Wind Down. Clink, 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 clink. Grab your glasses, grab your girls, tell your husband it's time for girl time, so he's got to put the kids away, put them to bed, give them their bath, because this is your time and it's time for girl time. Wise Wind Down, yes, and I'm so excited. Hey Spirit! I'm going to hop you on in just a minute. Oh, hey, everyone. Hey, Renita and Shayla and K. Simone. Hey, boo. I'm so happy to see y'all. Welcome. If this is your first time to Wise Wind Down, welcome to my day ones who have been here. Thank you all so much. You all support means the world to me, and thank you for tuning in each and every week. I am your host, Shonda White, and I've been married for 12 years now. And I started this outlet in this space because I remember when I first got married, I was like, okay, like I'm married now. Like, what does that mean to be a wife? Like, what do I do? Like, how do you stay married? And then sometimes we would have like these little arguments or little, heated fellowships, as my sis Renita likes to say. And I would just feel like, oh my gosh, like, are we going to make it? Or is everything okay? Not realizing that a lot of the things that we were going through were like kind of common, especially when you're going through growing pains in your first few years. And then when I would talk to other women, they're like, oh yeah, girl, that's normal. That's fine. And I was like, well, why isn't anybody talking about this? So I wanted to create this outlet so that no one else could have to feel that way, and they could feel like they could have their tribe and their fellow wives, so we could just kick back and kiki and also be empowered. So whether you've been married for a year, 20 years, 5 years, or you aspire to get married, because I know we have our singles that love to check in as well, which I appreciate. This is that outlet. This is that safe space for us to just have real talk and pull back the curtain on what it means to like not just get married, but to also stay married and have healthy relationships. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes. Oh, respectfully, Rose says, I'm officially a wife now. This really hits home. I can't thank you enough for forming this community. Thank you so much. This is why I'm here. I'm here for you all because I know how it is, especially when you're first getting married. And even when you've been married for a long time, sometimes you just need someone who you can relate to. And especially if you're preparing for marriage, you want to be like, okay, let me get the real deal, the real tea. So thank you so much for sharing that. If y'all got me, one of my girls, one of my tribes, y'all know, screenshot for your girl, because y'all just don't understand how much that means to me, because this is why I do Wives Down. So I'm so appreciative. So someone can screenshot that for me so I don't accidentally cut us off. I would greatly appreciate it. Yay! So without further ado, because I am so excited about tonight, let me welcome our phenomenal tonight, because you all are in for a treat. A lot of you all already know who she is, but if you don't know, you're going to learn today. Okay? So let's see. Listen.
Hey, lady.
You don't look like what you've been through.
Oh, well, hallelujah for that, because nobody ever wants to do that, huh?
You look amazing, and I'm like,
Oh, girl. Oh, I love you. I've been up since 7. That was my first client, was at 7 this morning. We've been going, so hallelujah. Thank you.
Listen, hair
I'll
is
take
like,
it.
makeup is like, if this is what weathering
Oh,
the storm
the
looks
hotel
like,
do?
yeah,
The hotel do? You feeling it?
yes.
You feeling it? Because I can't get to the hairstylist, girl. We just flat iron it in the hotel and let it go.
Me too. I won't see my stylist until next week. I'm like, let me go and get this flat iron together.
Girl. Listen, we
Listen,
do the best we can. That's us.
yes, we
Mm-hmm.
do. For those of you all who don't know, and I hope you
Mm-hmm.
don't mind me sharing, but Spirit
No,
was
not at
affected
all.
by the tornadoes last week. So when I say that I just found out this morning, had no idea. But when I
Oh,
say that I'm so appreciative to you, and I appreciate you weathering the storm, mentally and spiritually, but
mm,
even you being here right now in this moment means the world to me. And I'm so
yeah.
appreciative. And if there's anything we can do to help you, obviously we'll be praying, but if there's
Oh.
a site we could donate or help, we got you.
Oh, I love you guys. I thank you for that. And so, as I sip, I like to laugh. I go, yeah, I actually had to do Sprite with a little bit of muddle today, right? Because one of the things that I love to tell folks is when you feel like you need to drink, that's really when you shouldn't.
Mm.
That coping strategy can be very real and very dangerous. So, but in being affected by the tornado, and the reason why I laugh and say I need to drink, is just because in dealing with, as you said, in dealing with the tornado, we had the adjuster come out earlier this week who told us basically, you're gonna need a whole new house. So I was not prepared to hear that. I've heard of totaling cars. I had not heard of totaling houses, right? So when they go, yeah, outside of the structure, the outside, you'll keep that. You'll change the roof, but everything else in the inside is just, we're going to completely redo. So I had to look at that and go, okay, apparently the Most High feels like it's time for us to just, have a blessing wrapped in an inconvenience. So I'll
Mm.
roll with it. As long as I got my husband, we good. We
Mm.
good. As long as
Listen.
we are good, everything else is just stuff.
Mm. You listen, Spirit. I
Hmm.
haven't even done your introduction. You already bringing words today. Yes. Y'all, everybody send
Hmm.
Spirit positive vibes. We pray that all of that works out. Like I
Please,
said, if there's
please.
anything we can do, you let us know, because you pour into so many
Yeah.
people, and I can't even imagine. And like I said, you saying yes today, despite everything that you've been going through within this last
Hmm.
week, I totally appreciate it. So now before
Oh,
we
it's
get
my
into it,
pleasure.
yes, let me formally introduce you to the people. Most
Oh
of
yeah, yeah,
all,
yeah.
because
Okay, let's talk.
yes, they were
Hmm.
already in my DMs and on my comments. They were like, "We can't wait. We love Spirit." I'm like, "I love Spirit too." So let me
Oh.
officially introduce you to the folks. Spirit is changing the way we think about love, life, relationships, and everything in between. For almost 20 years, the licensed psychotherapist.
No, wait, no, wait. You're not gonna read the bio, are you?
Oh,
No,
oh,
no,
yes,
don't run the resi. No, just
yes.
it's us, family.
Yeah, no, 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 no. This is how we do Wise One. This is a full on production. You better
Oh my
receive your flowers.
gosh.
Receive your flowers,
Oh
because
gosh.
put some
We're gonna be
respect
here
on your
all
name.
night. Just how about some
Mm-mm.
highlights, a couple of
No, not yeah, yeah,
sentences?
yeah. I'm not reading. No, no,
Mm-mm.
no. I'm not reading. I cut it down. Don't you worry. I trimmed it down.
Okay,
No more
okay.
kidding. No, I saw how long it was. I trimmed it down.
Okay, okay.
Yes, just flow with me. Flow with me. Flow with me. Mm-hmm.
I got you.
Well,
Okay, I'm gonna sit back, let you do your thing. I'm gonna be
yes.
quiet for a moment.
We'll
Okay.
have the extra
Okay.
fun towards the end when we have the little fun questions. Okay.
Okay.
Media personality, wife, and devoted mother of 7, has delivered the answers to some of life's most challenging questions. Her down-to-earth approach promotes empathy and understanding while eliminating the stigma commonly associated with life's most challenging issues. Spirit has most recently
Hmm.
become recognizable as the host of OWN's new unscripted hit series, Love Goals, which was incredible. And she's also been a favorite reoccurring guest on shows including Steve, Dr. Phil, Divorce Court, and Sister Circle Live, one of my favorites. In addition to her work in television and radio, Spirit is also the owner and clinical director of the group mental health practice T2S Enterprises, LLC, based in Atlanta. And you recently won the Guardian Award for the Silence to Shame for your work in
Yes.
mental health. So everyone, please
Yes.
clap it up in the chat and welcome Spirit.
Oh,
Thank
thank you guys. That's so uncomfortable. I
Well,
appreciate it though.
hopefully you'll start to
Hmm.
feel more comfortable. I didn't want to make you feel uncomfortable, but I just love to formally introduce my guests because you all are doing incredible things, and
Hmm.
I want the people to know, just so they don't think like, oh, this is random. No, I take this very seriously, and I do my research, and I'm appreciative. So I
Hmm.
want people to take this as seriously as I do, even though we have our fun as well.
Amen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Amen. Amen. Look, I see people asking about the dissertation too. Oh yeah, we're gonna have to talk about the dissertation because I did my doctorate degree. My dissertation was on consensual non-monogamy among
Mm.
married and cohabitating couples in the African American community. So Black
Ooh.
folks engaged in different types of relationships. Yeah, we can talk about all that
Oh,
gladly if y'all
yes.
want to. Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Hmm.
Yes. If y'all have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, or
Hmm.
you can send them to me. That'll be easier so that I don't have to scroll through the comments. But so first of
Hmm.
all, how are you doing with everything that's been going on, managing quarantine? How have you been
Yeah.
mentally and spiritually and stuff?
It's been an interesting journey, but what I love to tell people is one, I believe in being completely transparent because I think that showing people one and reminding people that we're all human, doing the best that we can, just having a human experience is really important, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the other part of that is I believe that by being transparent, hopefully you encourage people when they look and go, well, what is the magic? What's the sauce? I get to say, there is no magic. It's about doing the work, right?
Mm-hmm.
So therapy has kept me grounded. And I don't just mean being a therapist. I mean having my own therapist. And
Mm-hmm.
so as I was telling folks, if you are not in therapy, especially after last year, you know, a viral pandemic, a racial pandemic, a social justice movement, your children, you heard me say I have 7 children, so trying to manage the 4 that we're doing, you know, learning in the house, and then dealing with not being able to see the 3 that were outside of the house, and now dealing with a natural disaster, right, and living through an actual tornado with my husband and 4 children, you know, literally huddled in a hallway. Like if I had not had therapy for myself in the last year, I wouldn't have had the emotional space. I wouldn't have the bandwidth. So when people say, well, how do you keep going? It's because I do the work so I can deal with the new stress that comes in. My husband and I have an open line of communication. We're good. I'm married to my best friend. So it's not a struggle on top of a struggle on top of a struggle. I have a partner where we can go to war with the world, but inside we have our peace, right? So it's like, how do you constantly create peace in your home and under your roof so that you can deal with the war that's constantly raging outside each and every day? So, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I just look at it in the moment. It was traumatic. You take it in, you feel all the feels, you deal with what's real so that it doesn't have to get packed away. I don't need my brain to lie to me about reality. When I'm tired, I'm tired. When I'm exhausted, I'm exhausted. When I'm sad, I'm sad. When I'm scared, I'm scared. But I can feel all the feels, which allows me to feel the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. So I can also feel my joy, my hope, my inspiration, and I can give that back and I can receive it. So, you
Mm-hmm.
know, it's all of that. It's all of that.
Yes, I love it. Y'all took the words out of my mouth. They said that's a whole word spirit. It sure is. Ooh, it sure is. And
Good,
I
good,
saw
good.
you were talking about like getting, everyone should have a therapist. And I saw this quote on your page the other
Hmm.
day where you said, get a therapist, not an influencer in need of the same. And I was like, ooh, that's a
Yes.
nice caution for us. Like, will you elaborate
Hmm.
on that? Like, get a therapist, not an influencer in need of the same.
Yeah. Well, you know, because the real deal is that there's a difference. And I say we make space for all healers, right? So as I tried to explain to people, that was not a slight. But we all need different things at different times, right? So an influencer, all that is just somebody who has maybe had a great word, who has had a lot of charisma, who has had a message, or who's really good at social media, or who's really good at marketing. But that
Mhm.
doesn't mean that they've done their work. That doesn't mean that they've walked the walk. That doesn't mean they've healed themselves. And that doesn't mean that they can give you what you need. And so just because somebody can give you a great word or a great phrase or repeat somebody else's regurgitation or their rehearsal and get lucky and resonate with you once in a blue moon doesn't necessarily mean that they're giving you what you need in order to heal yourself, in order to connect your dots. And so
Mhm.
if you are not doing the work, and even as a therapist, if your therapist is not doing the work, you know, I'm real quick to judge my own community. And y'all will hear me say over and over on Free Advice Friday, I'm like, if your therapist don't have a therapist, run. Right, run, because the real deal is nobody escapes being human. And so the
Mhm.
moment that you think that you are above dealing with your issues, the moment you think that you're above dealing with your trauma, the moment that you think that you are above connecting your own dots, you know, my therapist told me many years ago, you can only take people as deeply as you are willing to go. And so if you haven't gone anywhere, all you're doing is taking people in a circle, selling the same story over and over and over. But the minute that something gets real, you can't confront your own stuff. You can't live your stuff. You can't walk your walk. And so that is not what you want. You want somebody who says, listen, it's real. I know it because I live it. I've lived it. I'm on the other side of it. I'm praying that I can make the right choices so that I don't go back to it. But even if I do that, that's part of the experience, and I know what to do in order to recover from it. And so I just want to be real for people. I just want to show people what it means to just really go through and really make
Mhm.
space, because everybody is having a hard time. And anybody that tells you that they got it all together, keep it moving. Keep it moving.
Lies.
That ain't the influence that you're looking for. That's the influence that'll make you feel bad about yourself. And it's
Mm-hmm.
really not real, as unfortunately we're learning as we watch many influencers take the same fall over and over and over and over again.
Mm,
Seriously.
that's a word. And I saw Claudine. She said she's a fitness trainer. Shout out to you, Claudine. She said that's what she tells
Hey,
her
Claudine.
clients. She's a fitness trainer. And she's like, if
Mm-hmm.
your trainer ain't got a
Mm-hmm.
trainer, then you like you might
Come
want to consider
on.
something else. Mm-hmm.
Come
Mm-hmm.
on.
Y'all
Come
saying
on.
the same things. You can somebody
Mm-hmm.
recorded on. You can only take people as far as deep as you are willing to go. I
As
love
deeply
that.
as you are willing to go. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. We got to stop
Ooh, that's
asking people for directions that ain't been to where we are trying to get to. How somebody going to tell you how to get to where they ain't been? They're going to tell you what they think you should do based upon their limited knowledge. And they're going to have you chasing the same tail. If they knew the way, how come they're not doing it? And they don't know you. They don't know you well enough to know the ins and outs, the nuances, all the details. They only have a snapshot of your life. And
mm-hmm.
unfortunately, oftentimes we allow other people to dictate the path that we are supposed to be walking, and they are not hearing the voice about where we're supposed to be led to. That's our journey. They don't even know themselves enough. How are they going to know you and connect your dots for you? We all have our own individual work, and connecting our dots is literally about the right next step and the right next step and the right next step. So somebody telling you about 12 steps down the road and ain't even walked the first two with you, that's not where you want to be. That's not it. That ain't it.
Mm.
That ain't it, sis. That ain't what you want. That ain't trust me, it ain't.
If I had a book,
Mm.
I'd throw it at my phone, but then I would be messing up everything. Woo, you better take us, Spirit. Oh, this is why I love you. Appreciate you so much. You just keep
Oh,
it honest, but it's coming from a genuine place. And only someone who
yeah.
has been where you've been or on that journey, and like you said, has gone that deep can talk to us like you can, because we know you've
Yeah.
been through the journey and you're going through the journeys and you're
Mm.
doing the work, like you
Every
said
day.
earlier. Oh,
Every
I
day.
love that. Speaking of, like, we talked a
Mhm.
little bit about the pandemic, and I'm gonna be honest. When I reposted your segment from Sister Circle, which I was watching that day anyway, because I miss Sister Circle and I love when you
Mm.
were coming on there and did your segments. But that particular, when you talked about the Black Superwoman Syndrome, that was honestly
Mhm.
around the time when I finally decided to go to therapy. And you never knew this because obviously you didn't know me,
Oh.
but it
Mhm.
single-handedly influenced my decision, because I had been thinking about it, but it really influenced my decision to be
Really?
like, okay, yes. And even my husband had kept
Wow.
telling me, he's like, babe, you should
Ah.
just go. I should have went a long time ago because there was like anxiety and stuff,
Mhm.
things that I was trying to process. And just hearing that episode, just kind of, it was like I felt seen and I felt heard because
Oh.
of what you were explaining. And like now, no is like one of my favorite words. And before then it wasn't. And I found a therapist. And I
Yes.
know for certain that if I hadn't started therapy when I did, which was around 2019, I would not have
Mhm.
managed the pandemic as well. So I say all that
Yeah.
to say, like, you had posted on your page one day, I think it was a repost, and you said, feeling the need to be busy all the time is a trauma response and fear-based distraction from what you'd be forced to acknowledge and feel if you slow down. Do you feel like that's
Yeah.
part of the reason why that's what contributes to the Black Superwoman syndrome?
Oh, yeah. That and conditioning. Unfortunately, as Black women, we have been conditioned that intergenerational trauma is a very real thing. And so we don't understand how trauma works. And we don't understand, as I was trying to explain when you were talking about the Guardian Award, what I was trying to explain is that, mental wellness is a luxury. Right, that our ancestors and the folks that came before us did not have.
Mhm.
Because if think about it, really, if you were enslaved or if you were coming from the Caribbean or from West Africa or South America or any of these places where you were fleeing trauma, where you were fleeing famine, where you were fleeing war, where you were fleeing enslavement or any of these other things, the trauma of that journey, the trauma of being enslaved, you didn't have the luxury. Your body would literally die if you had to experience the depression, the anxiety, the post-traumatic stress disorder, all of the mental health issues that really go with those conditions, right? And so as our ancestors survived those situations, That's all that they could do was survive, right? How I show you that I love you is I put food on the table, I put a roof over your head. Don't ask me about where I've been. Don't ask me about my pain. I'm doing the best I can to hold it all together. Don't ask me about the people that didn't make it. Don't ask me, and so we grow up generation after generation recognizing that there's trauma, but not understanding what the trauma is, knowing that we have family secrets, right? Knowing that Big Mama was a stern woman who didn't talk a
Yes.
whole lot, but you heard through the grapevine that she lost her brother, or that somebody got lynched, or that she won't go back to her small town because you don't know why, but you know it's something, right? It's like we have all these family secrets, and then on top of that, the secrets get layered by just doing the best we can to survive. So then you've got domestic violence, you've got substance abuse, you've got child sexual molestation. We've got all of these things, and then we don't talk about it because we're taught, don't let them see you sweat. Don't you
Yep.
let those folks see that you're close to breaking. You better pull that back. You better look clean.
Yep.
You better look good from head to toe. And so we learn all of these lessons about how to survive, but we don't learn how to check in. Are you okay? How are you feeling? Are your needs being met? Do you feel loved? Do you feel cared about? How do you feel about the rejection? How do you feel about the abandonment? How do you feel about the constant moving? How do you feel about your needs not being met? On top of all the cultural lessons, children are to be seen and not heard. Boys don't cry. Ain't
Yep.
nothing wrong with you. Close your mouth before I give you something to cry about, right? Like
Yes.
all these things that we learn that never really allow us to connect to ourselves. And so then we get all of this messaging, whether it's directly oral or whether it's a subconscious nonverbal communication. We come into our adulthood wounded and broken and disconnected from ourselves, trying to then be in partnership with other people who are just as wounded and broken, as disconnected from themselves. And we don't understand how we create these trauma bonds, looking for somebody to give us what we didn't get in childhood. And then we have this music playing in the background of our relationships, and we don't know why it's not working. We go, I love you and I'm trying to be with you. I believe in black love. I believe in black families, but you gonna push me to the edge, right? I'm doing everything that I can to just be with you, and mine isn't working. And meanwhile, I don't know that hers ain't working. I don't know that his ain't working, because everybody is perpetrating. We all taking great pictures and snapshots of all the food we eating. Meanwhile, the lights ain't on, right? We're taking pictures of how happy we are, but we don't realize that they took 80 pictures to get that one, then they went back to fighting after they posted it, right? We don't realize that everybody is frustrated, having the same struggle, because nobody will be real about what it is that they're really experiencing, and that it's hard, and that it requires work constantly. And if you don't build the right foundation, you never get to reap the harvest that comes along with planting the right seeds in the fertile ground. Right? So we just miss it constantly. We miss each other constantly. So we got to do better. We got to start telling the stories. We got to start learning how to love, beginning with how to love ourselves, so we choose the right relationships as we go forward.
Yes. Oh, there's so many gems in that. And I feel like we're starting to I I feel somewhat of a shift. Even
Yeah.
spending time with my mom this weekend, I deliberately took the time to ask her questions about what she had been
Mm.
through. And I mean, the stuff she told
Mhm.
me, some of it I was like shocked, but I appreciated because I got to know her experience. Because like you said, our parents, grandparents, great grandparents, all they knew was how to survive. And I'm sure the conversation
That's
was
it.
very uncomfortable for both of us, but I was so happy that she
Mhm.
was open to it, because it made me respect her even that much more, obviously, just knowing what she
Mhm.
went through being a single mother, but just knowing like, how did you feel? And how was that, raising children by yourself? It was just a lot. And so
Come
I
on.
feel like there's somewhat of a shift. And because of people like you, we're trying to kind of manage and overcome the Black Superwoman syndrome
Yeah.
a little bit more. And you even
Yeah.
shared like some ways that like we can overcome it and manage it better. One of which was obviously sex. was one of your ways that
Mm.
we can
But
talk
great
about it, sis.
sex. It
Talk
can't
about
just
it.
be
Help us
sex, right?
tonight.
It can't just be you're getting off on me and I'm getting off on you, because that feels really great in the moment if you have great sexual chemistry. But if we're not really connected in the end, then I'm going to feel unsatisfied as soon as it's over, and I don't know how graphic we can get, but sex is my thing. But it's like how we feel when we're aroused versus post orgasm. It's like in the moment, okay, everything goes. But the moment that I climax or you climax, I go right back to feeling about you and feeling about myself, how I felt. So if I wasn't connected to you before, after I climax and you get me off, then can you roll over? Like, dang, can you just give me like 50 feet, like until the next time that I need to get off, right? Or if I'm not emotionally connected to you, or you don't even really know what gets me off, right? Then it's going to be really hard for us to meet each other in that space. And so if we have problems in the other parts of our relationship, I like to explain to people that sex is really just a litmus test for how the rest of your relationship is going. So when I'm working with clients, I will ask them, so when is the last time that you had sex, and what was the quality of that sex? Because both of those tell a whole lot. And sometimes sex is the only thing that people are doing that is keeping them together. And sometimes they're not even doing that real well that's keeping them together. It's like, all right, well, she's still meeting her wifely duties, right? And then he doesn't realize that her meeting her wifely duties, you're probably in trouble if that's all that she's doing. Because if she's giving it to you physically but not giving herself to you emotionally, you checked out anyway. So you're losing, right? And so there is no win when you don't have really great sexual intimacy. There is no win when you don't have really great emotional intimacy. Because if one of you is winning while the other person is losing, then your relationship loses. And in the long run, man, you're just going to wind up having that starter marriage or that second divorce or that third divorce, thinking that it's the other person, not realizing that the problem is really you, because there you go over and over choosing the same type of relationship. And so we really got to understand that everything that we do begins and ends with us. Our partners are just a reflection of who we are, of where we are, of what we're choosing, of what we're desiring and trying to create. But it really is about who we are in our moment. It really is.
That's good. That's why, like they always say, like when you get married, it's like looking into a mirror because they're just
Oh,
gonna
yes.
reflect what I've never.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I thought I knew myself until I got
Mm-mm.
married. I was like,
No, look
whoa.
at your partner. Yeah,
Yes.
look at your interaction with your partner. Your partner is a reflection of who you are, what you're willing to accept, where your boundaries are, what you believe your worth to be, because your partner is reflecting back to you the experiences that you're choosing to have. And so it really becomes, are you in a healthy relationship where your partner is healing you, growing you, stretching you? And I love to tell folks, see, your partner, you can't go into a relationship asking to have certain things. You come into a relationship wanting to have a particular experience, right? Because if you sit in any relationship long enough, it is going to grow you and stretch you and push you and pull you and challenge you in ways that you never thought possible. So ever you go in and you go, no, 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 let me tell you what I will do. Let me tell you what I won't do. I wish somebody would, because if that happens then, and let me tell you that, and you get all of this going in with all of this who you think you are, and then what you learn in a relationship with somebody else is that you don't know what you're capable of. You don't know what your forgiveness level is. You don't know what your tolerance level is. You don't know what your frustration is. You don't know what triggers you. You don't know what effective communication is. You don't know how to handle conflict. Your partner is constantly reflecting back to you who you are, where you are in your growth. And it's not even about them. It's about how you respond to being in relationship with them. They're just a mirror to trigger you and provoke you and push you and pull you. It's really about how do you learn who you are, and that's really what relationships do for you. It really teaches you who you are. It has nothing to do with them and everything to do with you.
Mm.
Everything.
Woo, the comments
Everything.
say it all. They said, yes, woke me up to loving myself. My goodness, gems on gems
Mm-hmm.
tonight. Listen,
Oh.
somebody said we in Bible study tonight. You know what?
We
It's
going
what
to
it feels
church?
like, Lord. It's what it feels like.
Let's go.
Woo.
Hallelujah. Let's just be the vessel. We just gonna be
Oh,
the vessel. I give it
yes,
to us.
you
Okay.
are. That's
Just
the
let it
perfect
happen.
description. You are such a beautiful vessel. Speaking to that point
Oh.
about healing and like relationships, I
Hmm.
know sometimes it can be uncomfortable for like you and people around you. And you stated before, which I love because I felt this in my spirit. You said a lot of people won't like the fact that you're healing. Perhaps your healing means that you'll
Hmm.
say no when you used to say yes. Heal
Hmm.
anyway. Hear that, y'all. Heal
Yes.
anyway. So I wanted to ask
Come
you,
through.
have you ever had a season where your healing and growth made others feel uncomfortable, and like what helped you remain confident and firm and like, have that stick with it attitude to keep healing anyway? Because I do think
Yeah.
that's part of the reason why some of us are reluctant to heal, because maybe it's taboo in our family, or it's different. It makes other people feel uncomfortable. So we want to appease
Hmm.
them versus being like, no, I need to heal from this, even if that means I'm going to
Yeah.
grow away from you.
Yeah. Well, I think healing is a journey. It's not a destination. So I'm constantly making people uncomfortable. I mean, we're making people
Mm.
uncomfortable even in the conversation tonight, right? Like a hit dog will holler. And so just like people make me uncomfortable, right? Because people, the things that make you uncomfortable about people is a reflection of some of the things that's being provoked and triggered in you. And so I'm so committed to my peace, and I love to tell my clients too, when you get to a certain place, and your viewers will know this because some of them have made that journey, right? When
Mhm.
you get to a certain place in your peace, you have done so much work and you are so committed to that feeling that it becomes a non-negotiable. Like you will choose your peace above all else because you'll be like, can't go back. I refuse, not for all the tea in China. Like you cannot, there's nothing you can do that would make me get out of my peace. And so what I try to explain to people, much like that tornado that I was in, peace doesn't mean that there are no storms. It is about constantly repositioning yourself and aligning yourself in the eye of the storm, right? In the eye, because in the eye of the storm, that is where the peace is, right? The storm is raging all around, but in the eye of the storm, it's quiet, it's still, you can think, you can hear yourself. And so it's constantly about, how do I get back to my peace? How do I get back to my peace? And when you start choosing your peace, what I tell you is that people will just get into alignment, and it's really funny because I don't need anybody else to get into alignment with me. I stay positioned where I want to go. And as long as I'm consistent there, what they will do is they'll either step into it and they'll want to be there and they'll match you step for step. And now you got a support system, or they'll go, oh, you was for real about that. Oh, I ain't got no time for this. Right. And so I'll give you a great example. As I started to come into my peace with my friends and family, I started to decide the experiences that I wanted to be a part of. The
Mm.
things that were unhealthy, I was like, you know what? I don't want to entertain those conversations. Don't say that around me. I don't want to entertain foolishness. I don't care that y'all think that it's cute to bring your mistress around here. Don't do that, because I'm telling. I'm going to tell all the business. Don't tell any secrets. Don't gossip about anybody that you don't want it to get back, because I don't want to hold secrets. I get paid to hold people's secrets in a healthy way. And that's all I'm doing. That's my boundary. So if you don't want it to be said, don't say it around me. If you don't want it to be told, don't tell it around me. If you don't want somebody to find out, because I'm not holding anything. And so for me, that's my experience. I just want to live free. I don't want to
Yeah.
have to outthink or second guess, or did I say, or I didn't say, or was I supposed to? I want to just be free. I want to live. I want whatever experience I'm having to be the authentic, real one. And so
Mhm.
to me, that is like perfect peace. And I don't want anybody around me that can't deal with that. So I don't judge you if you can't. I don't judge you if you don't want to. I don't judge you if you're not there yet. I don't judge you if it's too hard. But what I do is I find people that rock with me. I find people that resonate with that. I find people that can understand that. And eventually what happens is, and it's not even about pushing people away or blocking
Right.
people or letting people go. It's just about falling back into your space, right? And that
Mhm.
makes room. You just take a step back. You just open up the space. And as you open up the space, what happens is by opening up, and the more you open, the more you create room for new people to come in. And I don't even worry about, it's so funny because our brother DMX, God bless his soul, he said, and I thought it was so profound, he said, I don't feel the need to try to figure out people, right? These are my words, not his. I'm just paraphrasing. Yes. But he said, I don't have to figure out who I can trust, right? Because I just trust people to be who they are. I trust a snake to bite you. I trust a thief to steal from you. I trust a liar to lie to you. So I don't have to invest my energy in trying to figure you out. I can maintain my peace and just trust me, right? Trust me to set the boundary. Trust me to take care of me. Trust me to know that there is nothing that is going to happen to me where the world is going to fall off of its axis. I have already figured out there's nothing that can happen that will kill me. Even with my husband, we used to say, he's like, babe, I just love how much you trust me. I love that we got to a point in our relationship where it wasn't about, well, where are you going or what time or what are you doing or all of those things that when we're young and we're insecure or we need to control or we don't trust or we've been wounded, all of those things. I just got to a point where I let it go. And we were having a conversation even recently. We've been together now, goodness gracious, 14, 15, 16, something. We've been together a long time now, okay? And we still have these conversations because we're constantly learning each other, because we're constantly learning ourselves and revisiting and seeing the world differently. But we were having the conversation around trust, and he was like, well, I'm so glad that you came to trust me at a certain point. And I said, babe, as much as I love you, and I love you to no end. I go, like I tell him, I'll go to the gates of hell with you. I won't go in, but I'll follow you all the way to the gates of hell. That's us, right? But I said, to be honest with you, it wasn't that I trusted you. I didn't come to trust you. I came to trust me. And he was like, what do you mean? And I said, I came to trust that no matter what you do, I'm not going to die. And I'm going to choose me. So if you ever get to the point where you step out, where you violate us, I trust that I'm going to be okay. I trust that I'm going to take care of me and do whatever is best for me in the moment. I can't tell you what I would do. I'm not going to tell you I would leave. I'm not going to tell you I would stay. I'm going to tell you that I will cross that bridge when I get there, knowing that I trust me to take care of me. So whatever that looks like, if that's the choice that you want to make, then I respect your choice, knowing that I'm going to be okay regardless, right? And that became so freeing because when I got to that place, that was like a surrender. I didn't surrender to him. I surrendered to me. I surrendered to knowing what was in my control and the experience that I wanted to have. And I knew that I didn't want to be in a relationship. I didn't want to be in a marriage. I didn't want to be around anybody where I can't trust you, where I got to constantly be checking and let me see your phone and let me go through your inbox and where did you say you was? No, not today, 3 weeks ago, because I'm checking to make sure you're telling me the same story, right? Like I didn't want to be in a relationship like that. If I had to do that, that wasn't going to serve me. So I knew what I wanted, and I knew that I had to do the work for me to be free. So now, it's funny, like even being in a tornado, we have pets still that are at the house. So, it's 11 o'clock at night. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. He's got to go walk the dogs. I'm not like, you going on a booty call? Who you going to go see? Let me check your phone. Do you, boo? Right. If you think that there's something else out there better than what we got, bring her. I want to meet her. Shoot, I might need her too, because if she can do better than what I can do, and see, does she do windows? See, how does she feel about raising some kids? Does she cook? Because what is her bank account looking like? Because we might need to really make some considerations, right? Like if she really can get that attention. Yeah. And it's not about thinking that I'm anything outside of any other human being, but it's that if that is what you need at this point in your journey, then I want us to have that real conversation, right? I don't feel the need to say because you committed way back then that somehow you're going to honor that now. No. Let's talk it through. Let's work it through. Let's nurture it and grow it. So if that's still the goal every day, I choose you every day, you choose me every day. How do we keep falling in love with each other? How do we keep looking into the same direction and go, that's where you want to go? That looks good to you? That looks good to me. Let's go. What part are we doing together? And that's how we build a friendship instead of this parallel, we made a commitment. So you honor your commitment to me. What part you going to do? What part I'm going to do? All right, man. man, marriage, whew, let me go see my girls because that's where my real heart is. Or let me go kick it with my dudes because that's, no, it's like, I want to be with you. Right.
Yes.
I want to be with you. You are my best friend. Like, how do we run around the house at 80 years old, still slapping each other on the butt, still being like, hey, can I get, hey, what's good? Hey, how you doing? Right? We choose each other because we work hard at that. And so
Mhm.
that is what it's really about. And not necessarily thinking that what we did a year ago or 5 years ago or 10 years ago or 20 years ago is enough for who we are in this moment, because we're constantly changing and evolving and growing. And we don't assume that we know each other. Just because I knew him yesterday don't mean I know him at all today. Today
Okay.
bred a whole new situation. How is he doing today? How are we connected today? What does he need today? Am I communicating what I need today? So that tomorrow we can get up and do it all over again, knowing that yesterday we were just as connected and in sync as ever.
Mm.
Right? And that's a process.
But
That's a process. It's a lifelong
it's a
journey.
process, and that's so. Oh my gosh, I'm like, I could do this conversation all night with you, but that it leads me to that
Mm-hmm.
my next point about like, because partnership and healing, like it goes hand in hand. Like you said, it all starts with us. And you made a quote about, you said our adult relationships allow us to either heal the wounds from our past or repeat the same
Yeah.
dysfunctional patterns that are familiar to us. So I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
there might be, and so I saw a lot of you all in the chat. I love how engaged you all are. I can't even keep up, and y'all cracking me up, but I can tell that y'all are really feeling this tonight. But I'm sure there's someone who may be wondering. I've had the wonderful privilege of having a supportive husband through my journey and through my healing, and he's committed to healing. He's committed
Mm-hmm.
to counseling, all of that stuff. But I know that's not the case for everyone necessarily, either way.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens, or what does one do when maybe the other spouse can see the wounds, but maybe the other
Mm-hmm.
person is struggling? It's like you want to initiate and help in the healing process, but there's
Mm-hmm.
resistance. What can they
Mm-hmm.
do to kind of help that?
Well, you can't do anything for the other person. You can only model that for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to be committed to the experience that you want to be having. And I spent a good amount of time talking to several of my clients about this today, because it's the common experience. When we see our partners hurting, or when we perceive them to be having a particular experience, and here's the key, that we don't want them to be having, because really it's not about them, it's about us.
Yeah.
I see you and I think you got some stuff to work on. If you would just heal that, our relationship would be different, right? Your
Mm-hmm.
partner is not going to see that the same way. Their readiness is not going to be the same. Their motivation is not going to be the same. And so I tell people all the time, you have to decide for yourself the kind of experiences that you want to be having. Your partner is not responsible for creating those experiences for you. You are. And that's why your partner can never become the center of your world. They constantly have to be an enhancement. They
Mm-hmm.
are a thing that makes it better. But you have already decided, because you're your own unique individual with your own needs, your own desires, your own goals, and you have to be very clear on how anybody that you allow in your world fits into that. Right? And so what happens is, oftentimes when we're not having the experience that we want to have, especially in relationships, we look to our partner to change.
Mm-hmm.
I have people who will come to therapy, and I promise you, they don't come to get fixed. They
Yeah.
come going, if you could just fix them,
Right.
spirit, just, I brought them for you to tell them
Yeah.
so we can be good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not realizing your partner, again, is bouncing off of you. You
Mm-hmm.
are trying to change them so you don't have to change. Because the real deal is, sometimes we don't want to make the hard decision. I don't want to leave you so that I can have the experience that I want to have. I want you to
Mm-hmm.
change so I can have the experience that I want to have. I know the
Mm-hmm.
kind of happiness I want. I know the kind of joy I want. I know the kind of long-term relationship I want. I need you to get on my program so I can have what I want. And that's not how you do relationship. Right? Relationship is, I have already decided the kind of experiences that I'm going to have, and I'm wanting you to be the person to help create that with me. I
Mm-hmm.
want that, but it doesn't have to be you. but it does have to be the experience that I'm going to have for myself. So if at any given time I recognize that I'm not having the experience that I want to have, and you are not equally committed to doing what it takes in order for me to have that experience, now we have to make some real hard choices, right? Are we motivated? Has something changed? Has the goal changed? Did I have an expectation that was unspoken and somehow we missed this? I thought that you wanted the same thing that I did. I thought that you were committed to creating an experience with me. We wanted that at a time, but now other things have happened. We no longer want that. We don't want to make hard choices. We just want the other person to change. It's like, I'm begging you, please, so that I don't have to. I don't want to be a single mom. I don't want to be a baby mama. I don't want to be divorced. I don't want to have egg on my face. I don't want them to win because they told us this wasn't going to work. I don't want to have to start from scratch. I don't want to, all the things I don't want to do, but I want the experience that I want, right? So it's a very selfish kind of, please don't make me have to be the one. But the reality is really this, and I love to tell people, you can hope somebody will give you an experience. You can pray for them. You can root for them. You can find referrals for them. You can show up for them. You can argue with them. You can fight with them. You can fight against them. You can go to war, but still deal with them according to where they are right now. Treat them accordingly, because the experience that you want is happening right now. Right? So it's like, I heard one time, and it really resonated with me. It said, everything that you do in your life, you are trading a piece of your existence for. We don't know how much time we have on this earth. And so everything we set our intention on, it's literally costing us our life. We don't get even this moment that we're having right now, however long we've been sitting here talking, you've given up this much of your life for this moment. You don't get that back. So it's a very finite, crucial resource. So I'm constantly asking people, are you having the experience that you want to have? And if you're not, you're wasting your time and you don't get your time back. It is the one resource, right, that you can always make the money back. You can always get a new relationship. You can always get new clothes, a new city, a new country, you can always get anything new all over again, but you will never get your time back. And so if you have somebody that's not committed to creating the same experiences, if they're not dedicated, then is it worth it for you to give up your time in exchange for a situation that's not serving you, that's not feeding you? And there's a difference, right? There's a difference between it's going to take us time to get there, but we're working towards the same goal, right? But I'm not going to fight you for your healing. I'm not going to fight you. And I'm darn sure not going to allow myself to relapse in my recovery, right? If you've done your work, if you're working for joy, if you're working for happiness, if you're working for obedience, if you're working for submission, whatever it is your goal, you can't go on everybody else's healing journey with them. It might set you back. It might threaten your remission. It might cause you to relapse. It might cost you your mind. It might cost you your mental wellness, your finances, your spiritual blessings. You might block yourself, and that's nobody else's choice but yours, and you have to own that. You can't say, I gave up all of this for you. No, you gave it up for you. You made the choice, banking on, hoping, praying, right? Seeing the potential, believing in the potential instead of dealing with who it was, and meeting them where they were in the now. Because the real deal about potential is that is your vision of who they are. That is who you believe they have the potential to be, but you have no guarantee at all that they even want that version of them.
None.
That they desire it, that they can even see it, or that they have any motivation or resources to achieve the potential, the fantasy that you are creating for them. And unfortunately, we create so many fantasies. I will say this. We create fantasies in our mind and futures that we don't even know that we have. And people will go, well, Spirit, what do you mean? And I say, you've already seen yourself grow old with this person. You've already seen yourself walking on the beach at sunset with this person. I go, tell me about the fantasy.
Yep.
right? Because sometimes we're so committed to bringing the fantasy to fruition that we can't see the reality that we're living in. So I
Mm-hmm.
say, tell me the fantasy, right, that you have to grieve so that you can deal with the reality of the situation and make some real choices based upon the reality. Because right now, what you're fighting for is a fantasy that doesn't exist. You're fighting for a relationship that don't exist. You're fighting
Mm-hmm.
for a vacation that you may never get to, but you will have wasted your life, right? You will have wasted decades sitting in relationships that don't feed you because of a fantasy snapshot at
Mm-hmm.
80 years old, at 70 years old. Oh, the great grandkids running around my feet. But boo, you've been married 3 times and you don't like this man. And you're already thinking about leaving, and you've been thinking about leaving for the last 10 years.
Wow.
Do you really want to give up the time that you can't get back? And the hard part, even in that, being real, is that most of the time when people do get divorced, it's taken them half the time that they've been in the relationship to
Mm-hmm.
leave.
Mm-hmm.
So, when a couple comes in and goes, oh, we've been married for 30 years. I know. Okay, so you've been contemplating leaving for 15 years. And they go,
Mm.
Spirit, how do you know that? Well, it's not rocket science, and I'm not a
Right.
soothsayer. It is literally
You know.
science.
Mm-hmm.
And so you wasted all the time that you can't get back.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't even look to them and be mad. You have to look at you, because the real deal is you didn't want to change. Whether
Mm.
you were comfortable in the house or the fancy cars or with the pictures and the image you was creating, or the
Mm-hmm.
stereotypes and the whatever story you told yourself so you would stay put, you chose that for you. You
Mm-hmm.
didn't require you to change, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the hard part in all of this. But it's worth it if you do the work. It's
I
worth it.
feel like I owe you for the session or something. Like I feel like you should be charging us at this point. Like that
Girl,
is
no, we got to heal as many people as we can. Come
yes,
on
and
now.
that's what I love about you,
Hmm.
like the healing. And I'm looking at the comments, and like some people are there, some people have been there, some people are somebody's
Hmm.
gonna start their healing process tonight because of what
I
you've
hope
said.
so.
And
I
I
hope
love that
so.
because, like you said at the beginning, it all starts with us. Like, no, and someone
Hmm.
made a good point about it doesn't matter the type of relationship. It could be, your friendships, your friends and lovers, your husband, your
Hmm.
wife, whatever. But at the end of the day, it starts with ourselves. It starts within us
Yes.
and doing the work. It all goes back to doing the work. There are so many
Yeah.
things beneath the surface that we don't even realize, and the triggers and the things that come out. And like you said, what is that
Hmm.
experience we want to create? But you also have to know, like, what is the experience I want for myself? And you don't know that unless you know
That
yourself
part.
and you can do the work. So,
Yeah.
uh, before we wrap, we got to do
Yeah.
our rapid round. But I'm like, oh my gosh, this
Oh,
has
okay.
been
Tell me. What? Dang, that
incredible.
flew
It's just
by.
a few quick questions, and you got to
Hmm.
say the first answer that comes to
Let's go.
mind. This is another way
Okay.
that we get to know our fellow wives on here, and some of them like to respond in the chat as well. But just
Okay.
another fun way. So the first answer that comes to mind, you have to say it. Okay,
Okay.
are you ready?
Okay. Oh
Okay.
yeah. Hopefully it won't be X-rated. I got. There's a lot that goes on up here.
Right.
Okay. Okay. You said it. I'm just gonna say it though. Okay.
I might throw one of them in there. Which of these is closest to
Hey.
your love language? Hubby cleaning the house, giving you a massage, buying you a gift, or him telling you how much he loves you?
Oh, giving me the massage. Because
Mm.
I love just being all about. He's got to talk to me though while he's giving it to me. Like I'm a sapiosexual, meaning that intellectual stimulation. So I need him to be like, does that feel good? Like, turn me on with it, right? Like the touch is just one part, but
Yes.
I'm gonna need you to talk to me while we do that. Yes,
Every time I
yes.
ask
Give me
that,
that massage.
the last few episodes, massage has
Hmm.
won every single time. Like, I feel
Yes,
you.
yes. Physical
Um,
touch.
who's
Hmm.
more likely to plan a date, you or him?
Him.
Nice.
You know what? I work ridiculously. And our dates, we're not like big grandiose. We look for ways, especially when you have 7 children, right? So we look for ways constantly to date. It's, hey, jump in the car, we're going to grab this Starbucks and we're going to sit here in this parking lot. I
Mhm.
don't need him to give me grand gestures because relationships
Nice.
are not built on these huge things. They are
Mhm.
built and they also fall apart by little things every day. Right.
Mhm.
So dates for me are not like, oh, get dressed, we're going somewhere.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you want to sneak off to this movie real quick? Oh, I got the popcorn. Grab it. Right.
Yes.
That is it for
Mhm.
me. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I
Yeah.
love that. Y'all, she was on our last episode, and her and her husband did 52 date nights, one every single week for this last year. And
Wow.
that's what she talked about. She had a nice
Hmm.
range. Some were like more elaborate, and some was as sweet as waking up to watch the sunrise. So I love
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. That's true.
Hmm.
We got up this morning, literally. My first client was at 7. We got up at 5:30 in order to just sneak off to breakfast so we could just have that time before the kids started school and I started with clients. So that's
Oh,
real. Go ahead, y'all. I feel you on
yeah.
that, sis. I feel you.
Yes. I love it. We wives got to stick together.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
PDA, are you here for it or not? I assume yes.
I am so here for it. Listen, because when I'm with my boo, we make people uncomfortable because for us, it is so real. And of course, it's not about being overly dramatic, but it's really when I'm with him, nothing else matters. And so we are
Mhm.
always touching. It's always a hand somewhere, a kiss somewhere, and I think that it adds something for people to see real intimacy,
Mhm.
right? There's a difference. So much is distorted, so much is fake. But what
Mhm.
I want people to know is that when you love each other, that
Mhm.
is just a natural expression of who you are and how you're communicating. And it adds that layer of security, not even
Mhm.
just for you, but for people around you. I
Mhm.
love when people go, oh, see,
Yeah.
we should do that. And I go, well, then y'all do it. Do it right now. I'm gonna watch you. Go ahead. Oh, you like when I watch? All right, let me go on and turn away. That's gonna be a whole nother problem.
Oh, you crack me
Oh,
up.
that's a whole nother night. We'll get into exhibitionism and voyeurism and all that on a different night. I'm telling
Yes.
you,
Oh my
sex is my
goodness.
thing. I started off doing sex talk, so
Oh
that
yes.
was my thing.
Well, this
Hmm.
is exclusive announcement, but my next episode, the week after next, will be a sexologist. So y'all better get
Oh,
ready.
fun. There
Who's
y'all
the
go.
right? Who's the better listener?
Me, obviously, because I'm the
I think,
therapist, right? But
yeah.
I think what I will say is we listen differently. My
Mhm.
husband, okay, let me say it like this. My husband is literal. And
Mm,
he is a listener for what is. I have a tendency to listen for what I believe something could be,
yeah.
and I hear the deeper between the lines, so he often has to rein me in,
Yeah.
right? He protects me, right? And that's the freedom, that's the covering, because I can fully do me and step into me, and he will step in front of me and go, no, babe, they're trying to take advantage. No, they're
Mhm.
trying to emotionally capture you. No, they got you. So
Yeah.
knowing that I trust him implicitly, and he'll joke, and when it's the kids fighting or something, he'll go, okay, you're the kid whisperer. Okay, go do that. I don't do the feelings part, right?
Yeah.
But I will lean into him for the analytical, right?
Mm,
So like in dealing with the insurance adjuster. All right, babe, so was he trying to get us or is he on our team? No, I'm gonna tell you exactly why he's this, right? But
mhm.
what I will do is go, no, see what you missed was this, babe. What they were really trying to communicate was this. So we
Mhm.
are a great tag team. So what I
Mhm.
will say is where I am weak, he is strong, and our joke is iron sharpens iron. So we
Mhm.
both just listen in a different kind of way. And
Mhm.
he's made me better. I like his form of listening. It's
Mhm.
actually helped me to put up boundaries and protect myself from those opportunists or those people who would seek to
Yeah.
disrupt or
Mhm.
exploit that kind of listening that I do. I love
100%.
you, boo. If you out
Yes.
there, you already know I love
Oh,
you.
I
I'm gonna
love
see you
it.
after this.
Yes. Who's more likely to cook, you or him?
Him,
Okay,
him.
yes.
Listen, we both cook great. but we don't have gender roles in our house. The way that our
Hmm.
house operates is whoever is closest to it does it.
Yes.
And I will not lie, I work a ridiculous amount of hours. I work all
Mhm.
hours of the day and night. I actually even see clients after hours on top of things.
Mhm.
And so oftentimes he is the person, right? So when
Mhm.
I come in, I will cook and I will prepare, but he is the practical. Most of the time, he's making sure that food happens, and
Mhm.
he loves it. His father was a cook, his brother is a cook, so it's really nice to be like, um, dinner, what, you got it? And he'll be
Yes.
like, babe, yours is already in the microwave, your plate. Come on now, you already know, right?
Yes.
And it's just, that's how we do.
I love
Yeah,
that. And that's part of the reason why I
yeah,
like asking some of these questions because I want women out there to know. I want to change the narrative of how we think marriage is supposed to be. You know, you have to do what works best for your family and what works best for your
yeah.
relationship. So where he
Hmm.
might be skilled in cooking or clean, maybe you're not doing that, but like just changing
Hmm.
that narrative. So I love when I hear different answers or people say whatever. They like, girl, I don't never
Hmm.
cook. It's like, oh, love it. Like I just
Yeah,
want people to
yeah.
don't feel like, oh well, I don't do that. It's like you got to do what works for your marriage. So I love that. Mm,
You do. And you have to know, I'll say this real quick if we
mhm.
have time, is
Yeah.
that marriage looks different by generation. And we're at
Yes.
a really unique time in American history where this is, I love to tell folks, this is the first generation, us in our 40s really, is the
Yep.
first generation where we can't necessarily get advice from our elders about marriage and relationships because the world that they dated in no longer exists,
Mhm.
right? And so we are really in a unique place. The millennials who are like late 30s and into 45, 50. And the reason for that is because a lot of men are looking for women like their grandmothers, right? But our grandmothers whispered in our ear, don't you dare be like me, right? And so we have these situations where men are wanting us to now be like our grandmothers, keep a
Mhm.
house, raise the children, do all of that, but also to work outside of the home. Right. So we got to have the same 9 to 5 as them, and they don't mind. They need that paycheck, right? Because this is just a two-income society. So this idea of you being able to stay home and be a philanthropist or a full-time housewife,
Mhm.
that ain't the thing anymore. And so we are stuck in this weird place where the
Yeah.
men go, I want a woman like my grandmother, but I don't necessarily want to be the man like my grandfather. I need you to help me. And so what we have to do is we have to let go of those gender roles. We have to
Mhm.
stop saying, oh, I need a woman to do this and I need a man to do that.
Yes.
No, this is what it takes to make our life function. Which part are you better at? Which part are you motivated at? Which
Mhm.
part are you strong in? And how long do you want to do it? And when you get tired, we can switch it up. I got you and you got me. Who's going to bathe these kids tonight? Are you on homework duty? Did you pick up that stuff from the cleaners? How are we working in tandem?
Mhm.
Don't look to the left. Don't look to the right. Don't look at what they doing. I'm
Mhm.
gonna tell you, because they stuff is just as messed up. They over here perpetrating for you. They gonna have your friends is gonna have y'all asses divorced. Real talk, okay?
You
They gonna have
lying.
y'all divorced because the men ain't gonna talk about what's really going on. They're not gonna talk until they sitting at the bar divorced, crying, going, "Oh man, for real, that was your. Oh, I didn't know, bruh. Why didn't you tell me? If you would have told me, I could have told you." And we're not talking. Because we
Yep.
all are out here trying to floss, fake, and front, acting like we got it all together when we
Mhm.
don't have the answers,
Mhm.
right? Most of us is trying to be like most men trying to be like TV dads, right? I
Yeah.
go, okay, so how did you learn how to be in relationship? Oh, I wanted to be like Heathcliff Huxtable, or I
Mhm.
wanted to be like the Bankses, you know, we all have these ideas instead of
Mhm.
going, I don't have it all figured out. I'm just showing up as my whole, complete, vulnerable self, trying to be the best person that I can be, and you try to be the best person you can be, and let's find our rhythm together. Let's
Mhm.
learn how to love each other. Let's learn how to grow each other. Because real deal, if we're supposed to be together forever, we don't need to be perfect. We have
Right.
our whole lives to learn, to grow, to
Mhm.
make mistakes, to get it right, to try again, to keep going. But most of us go, if you don't got it right now, I
Mhm.
ain't got time to give it to you, right?
Mhm.
And that's different. I want you guys to understand that's different than I'm not having the experience that I want. That
Yeah.
is different. That is saying I don't have to be perfect in order for
Mhm.
you to love me. I love you
Mhm.
for who you are, not in spite of it. And we're working together to get it right because we're committed to going to the same place.
Mm.
That's what it's supposed to be about.
That's
That's
deep.
what it's supposed to be
Woo.
about.
That's
Yeah.
deep.
Yeah.
Okay, last question.
Mhm.
And we went
Mhm.
over, but I'm totally fine because this has blessed my heart. I know it's helped so many people. But since you love sex talk, I have to ask, if you only
Yes.
had one choice, if just hypothetically, morning, day, or evening sex.
Oh. Are the kids around? Is it like
Mm,
I'm going to have as much time as I want?
yes, you have as much time as you want.
Am I on vacation or is it like a work day?
Listen, vacation,
I got to
vacation
ask.
sex
Listen,
different.
listen, because I'm being real, right? Like my husband, he literally said to me, I ain't gonna tell you what we was doing because y'all don't need to know all that. That's TMI. But he literally said to me earlier today, "How come you're so feisty at this time? Why not later?" And I was like, "Cause then I'm too exhausted. By the time we
Yes,
get to the end of the day, right, there is a window, and once I get to the point where exhaustion outweighs arousal." Bruh, it's a wrap. Do not touch me. I am not playing with you. And I don't want you to be rejected because I love you.
yeah,
But self-care is a real thing. And so your
yes,
body is going to respond. Again, I'm in full connection with myself. My body
yes.
is going to respond to its priority. So if you want me high energy, aroused, and into you, you need to catch me in the window before exhaustion and the need for reparation, right, and repair kicks over. Because at that point, I could care less about some sex. You gonna have to wait till tomorrow, bruh. Holla. But if you catch me in the right window, I'm gonna give you a run for your money. You're gonna be like, babe, stop playing, stop playing.
Right.
You play too much, right? That's a
That
whole nother
window.
conversation now. Oh
Gotta
yes,
get that
yes,
window. Yep.
yes. That
Hmm.
one and that window could be as long as you want. I'll stretch it out for as long as you want to. I'll teach you how to be a multi-orgasmic man, a multi-orgasmic woman. You have to like set the intention. You go, okay, so how many? Let's go with the rule. How many times are we coming tonight? And then
Listen.
that's gonna be it. Don't play. Don't play. And I gotta tell you, you can't tell me. You can't be like, no, I'm gonna give you 5. No. Listen, all I want is 2 or 3, and then that's a wrap. And some people is like, damn, 2 or 3, what? I just need 1 and I'm done. And then you got 25% of the folks that ain't never even had an orgasm. So they're like, oh, is that the order of business? I don't even
Right.
know what that's like, spirit. I know that's
That's
a
a
whole nother
that's a
conversation
whole
though.
other yeah.
Y'all know.
That's the next episode. Woo!
Yes,
But
yes, that's
you
a
can always
negotiation. What kind?
yes, you can always
Hmm.
come back though, especially for the next time.
Hallelujah.
You
I'll
can
come back.
yes, you are
Invite me. I'll come back. I'll come back
listen.
anytime you call and just
You
invite
are
me.
you are always welcome. I can already just tell by the chat. Y'all are cracking me up in the chat. And just so everyone's like, the spirit looks beautiful. She's preaching. That's a word. I'm about to throw my
Oh,
shoes at her.
we just giving a
I
word.
cannot thank you enough.
I
This
want
has been
shoes. Yes.
yes. I saw
Yes.
some.
I just saw Rihanna cuss somebody out and just flip somebody off. I was like, what is that? And then when they told me that's a compliment, I was like, oh, okay. I ain't got to. Don't let the smooth taste fool you. When they say you was a thug before you was a healer, be like, don't
Yes.
let all these alphabets fool you now. I'm from
Right.
LA.
Right.
Real
Hmm.
talk.
Yes. Now, some of y'all came in a little late. They was like, did I miss something? You missed a lot. But y'all know I got y'all because I'm going to be posting it on my
Mm.
IGTV where you can catch this episode and all episodes. And y'all know Wise One Down is on YouTube now. So it'll be up there very shortly later
Ah.
tonight. But before we go, grab y'all's glasses. Y'all know what time it is. It's time to toast. So, Spirit, before we wrap, I want you to tell all the people
Mhm.
how they can follow you, about your free advice Fridays and
Mhm.
whatever else you want to share.
Mhm.
And then what are you toasting to tonight?
You know what? So you guys can follow me at Talk to Spirit. I'm Talk the number 2 Spirit everywhere. And I do something different everywhere. So memes on Instagram. I go to war. Twitter is like my advocacy place. And then of course, like you said, Free Advice Friday. Every Friday I do live mental health chats on my Facebook page at noon Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. bright and early on the West Coast. And we've been doing that. It's not just COVID specials. Everybody asks me that. We've been doing it for this is year, I think, 5
Yeah.
or 6 at this point. Every Friday Friday without fail, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
guys can find me. You need me at the office, 888-718-2T2S. Again, 888-718-2T2S. If you want to get some referrals, some resources, some look at some
Mm-hmm.
great therapists and all of that, I am all about helping you guys. And so if we're talking about toasting, y'all raise your glass, get your water, get your Sprite, get your wine, get your whatever. Only one glass though if you self-medicating, okay? And then I'm gonna need you to call us tomorrow at the office, okay? Okay, seriously. But what I want to toast to is your perfect peace. And that doesn't mean that your peace is perfection, but that means that where you sit, you are honoring yourself, you are honoring your healing, you are honoring your journey, and you are always choosing you. Because if you constantly choose you, you will have the people around you who will lift you up, and they will continue to choose you over and over and over again, and that will break every chain in this intergenerational trauma that we are all trying to heal beyond. So,
Mm.
perfect peace.
Cheers. Woo.
Amen.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Eye contact.
Mm.
Mm.
Get
That was a
it.
word.
Mm. Mm.
That was
Mm.
a woo.
Seriously.
Even in your toast, you
Seriously.
just know how to speak life into us. And I, on behalf of
Oh,
everyone, whether y'all new to Wise Wind Down, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you'll join us again. But for my day ones, I appreciate y'all. But on behalf of all of us, because I know I speak for most people,
mm.
thank you for just pouring into us, Spirit, because your name is
My
just so
pleasure. My
fitting
pleasure.
because you speak life into
Mm.
us. You encourage us. Some people we don't know, and you might not have ever met us, but just know that the work that you're doing, I think you've said before, like you want to help your people and you are doing
That's
exactly
it.
that. So thank you so
I
much.
appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes, yes. I
Yes.
love it. The ancestor
Oh.
said do it. I just walk in obedience. Walk
Mm-hmm.
in obedience.
Mm-hmm. You are
Hmm.
an
I love
inspiration to
y'all.
us. Thank y'all so much. This
Oh,
has been incredible. Y'all keep Spirit lifted up as she, transitions. But God, like you said, there's
please.
a
Whew.
blessing in the
Be in a
convenient
hotel forever,
situation.
girl. Whew. Mm-hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
are praying
Pray
with you,
for me. You
sis.
know, a carpenter, some flooring, some auto set. Look, girl, it's all totaled. I gotta get a new everything, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay
Mm-hmm.
because I'm on this side of the dirt, and I have
Yes.
all of my children, and I have my mind and my
Mm-hmm.
body, so we are good. We're gonna walk the walk.
Mm-hmm. And your
Hmm.
spirit is right. Come on. Mm-hmm.
Some great therapy.
Yes.
Hallelujah. I'll see him again on
Yes.
Monday. Let's do it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you, Spirit. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in.
My
Again, if you
pleasure.
missed
My
it, you'll catch
pleasure.
the replay on my IGTV and my YouTube. I appreciate and I love each and every one of you. Y'all have a wonderful, blessed, positive week.
Mwah.
Bye.
Bye,
Mwah.
guys.